Let's go to Yoel Romero here. So he got a really very solid win, putting out the lights of Melvin Manhoef in the third. But by the way, I forget the stats here. I think Aaron Bronstetter had a tweet about it, where you look at the stats, Romero has a huge portion of his finishes all coming in KO or TKO in the third. But he gets it done in the co-main event. BC, the question to you is, A, how impressive is the victory? And B, this is the interesting part. He kind of flamed out of what was supposed to be in the tourney, right? We're supposed to get the Anthony Johnson fight. We didn't get it, and blah, blah, blah. Loses to Phil Davis. It just didn't go the way it was supposed to go. And so he's out of the tournament. We don't have a resolution yet between Corey Anderson and Vadim Nemkov. We're going to get one here pretty soon. But, like, does this win get him a title shot? Now that the tournament's over, he didn't necessarily, like, shine through that process in the way that we had all kind of hoped. It didn't turn out the way we want. He's got 2 wins in a row. He beat Manhoef rather easily. And you could say, well, Manhoef, as I said on Friday, I'm glad he's retiring. I don't think he should be fighting at all at this point, but here he is. Nevertheless, where are you on how good he looked and what this means for where he stands at 205?
Yoel looked great. I mean, physically, Luke, he seemed to be back in a spot he hasn't been since moving up to 205 and coming to Bellator. Now, like Benson Henderson, I think he found a why. We found that out after the fight when he announced, hey, guys, I'm still the best 185-pound fighter in the world. Now, like he put a little qualifier around that, a little tongue-in-cheek in him saying that. But this was a 205-pound bout. It was a fight he was supposed to win odds-wise. And look, you know, him being this dialed in actually robbed us from some of that crazy all-action potential that this fight kind of offered. But I think the silver lining in that is that Yoel's back. He's back at the very least to say he's going to get the very best of what's left of him when he's already in this weird, unique, ageless wonder spot. What is he, 45? Because, look, he was not in this kind of shape in the Phil Davis fight, which was kind of rushed. Even in the last one against Alex Polizzi, which he looked very good. This showed me that he's got something to fight for, and that's a run at the 185-pound title. You saw him in markedly better shape, which shows you he's in the process of cutting down. And when it comes to the potential matchups there, not only has Johnny Eblen already responded with like a, hell yeah, I'll retire another legend, but Luke, the idea of him fighting Gegard Mousasi, who just lost his middleweight title, I mean, that's must-see TV. That's destination viewing between two all-time greats. So I actually long-term love the developments of what came out of this fight. We didn't get the back-and-forth sort of highlight potential, but when Romero had the opportunity to end the fight, boy, did he do so violently against a still game Manhoef, who really was never in this contest. I like to see Yoel motivated. I like to see him hyping himself up. And more than anything else, although it's not really related to all this, the reception he got from that Dublin crowd, Luke, it was heartwarming. Here's a guy who has no connection to that area of the world, yet due to his reputation, due to his accomplishments, they showered him in love and praise to the level where you could feel it through the screen, and even you heard Yoel go after it in the post-fight interview and say, hey, all fighters out there, you haven't fought yet until you fight right here in this cage. I love to see him get that respect. But the thing is, Luke, he actually earned that respect with his performance. He's dialed in and he's ready. How soon for a middleweight title shot? I don't know. But it feels like he's a player now, because I feel like he's making the best use of what's left of his talents. 205 was always going to be a little bit of a crapshoot for him. But to see him now getting back in killer shape and utilizing his offensive wrestling, which is something that just has not been there throughout his elite MMA run, I thought altogether this was a great turn for the better for Yoel Romero, and I'm very excited about his future.
So I'm surprised that you see a future at 185. I candidly don't. Why are you so confident he can make 185 again?
Because I saw him come in markedly better shape in this fight than the last two.
He looked a lot bigger, too. He looked a lot bigger.
I know it's never been easy for him, Luke. Can I sit here and guarantee you he makes it? No. I mean, he's fought in... How many title fights in a row was he a part of that he failed to make weight in? We get it. But, Luke, isn't that a better use of what's left for both him and the promotion? Look, the aging wonder old guy versus old guy fights are always going to be there. If Rumble can get healthy, will I ever want to see that? Yeah, I still want to see that. Okay, I still do. But there are fights to make at middleweight. And that in him attempting to cut down is going to get the best of what's left in him. Luke, I'm going to be honest with you. Even though he looked good against Polizzi, the way he carried himself, how he looked physically the last 2 fights since coming to Bellator, it just didn't feel like the Yoel of old. I thought we had stumbled upon an old Yoel, and I'm not trying to say that beating 46-year-old Melvin Manhoef is a fountain of youth moment where I'm now going to like favor him against Johnny Eblen or Mousasi. No, but I want to see those fights, and he's going to have to be in the right mental and physical shape, really strategically as well, and he was with the wrestling in this case, to be there to put off the best version of himself. I think he's found a reason to get motivated, and I think we saw that shine through in this one.
I got to tell you, I agree with your sense of how he looked. Like, the fact that he's got the third round KOs and TKOs so considerably relative to his peers, to me, is an interesting thing. But if you just watch this fight in particular, and of course this has been true longer than just this fight, but this fight was a great showcase of taking his time, finding the right moment. It came in the third. Obviously there was a lot of wrestling that came before that from Yoel Romero. He was able to get the takedown basically whenever he wanted. And then, sort of softening up, slowing down a guy like Melvin Manhoef. And then those elbows, I tweeted about it, like right when he got to the position, I think in the second round, where it's like, this is the same position, that half guard top control that he demolished Lyoto Machida from with those elbows. I think it was in Hollywood, Florida, on a fight night card for the UFC. And sure enough, third round, he gets right back to it. Dude, he's got vicious ground and pound from that particular position. So to me, that he was taking his time, using weapons he knows he has. I think he had a size advantage, even though they were both 205 pounds. He just looked to be the much more physical guy between them. Certainly in the wrestling department, that's going to be true. Here you see the example. He tried that terrible key lock, which was never going to work. He didn't do it correctly at all. But so aside from that,
I would guess he knows more about key locks than you do. So why don't you watch that tone around Yoel, all right?
It looks to me like he doesn't, actually. I would actually say he doesn't. That was a very poorly applied version of one.
See you soon, boy. See you soon.
Yeah, okay. I actually would say that might be the one thing I know more in combat sports than him, but for sure his paintbrush is not good. But short of that, he did look great. He had a lot of things that went for him. And again, I like the measured approach. I don't buy 185 is a path for him at this stage in his career.
Okay, what aren't you buying? Beyond your fears that he's not going to make weight, Luke Thomas, why are you not buying that?
That's the only fear that I have, and I don't think it's even physically possible. Dude, not only did he look bigger in the sense that he had filled out at 205, you can see guys who, go up a weight class, and they look a little bit, they don't look as drained. It wasn't just that he didn't look as drained. It looked to me like he had packed on muscle. It looked to me like he had actually not just said, well, I'm not going to just deplete myself. I'm going to actually add a ton more muscle on top of it. What is he, closer to 50 than he is 40 at this point, or right at the midway point, right around it. Dude, he's not making 185. I just don't believe that it's possible. I don't believe he has the interest. I know he's talked about it. I understand that. I understand he keeps
Does he have two hands?
That flame lit. But
Does he have two hands? I'm asking you a serious question. Does he have two hands?
Yes.
Anything is possible. Go.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but to me, the question
Phil
is what
Murphy,
he's going to do.
ESPN interview, Luke. Come on, get back in it here. Please, stay with me.
I can't see your hands. I don't know what you're doing.
It's a blues riff in G. Watch me for the changes and try to keep up. Okay, Luke, come on.
Okay, I mean, these jokes are terrible. But all right, but the point I'm trying to make here is I'm not even disagreeing with you that there would be fun fights if they could make them at 185. The Johnny Eblen one is very interesting. I just really don't buy it. I'll believe it when I see it, BC. If they sign a 185-pound fight and he makes it, and they give him, I will retract this concern that I have. But at
this is the same tone you use when talking about your lack of belief in a deity. Just so you know, maybe soldier of God, maybe there's a connection there.
Yeah, I mean, well placed skepticism, I might add. Well placed. But BC, wouldn't you? Who? Okay, at this point at 205, who would you favor, Ryan Bader or Yoel Romero?
Okay, but that's not in play at the moment. I would favor Bader, but Luke, does he? Okay, look, get Floyd, get Bill Cosby. The proof is going to be in the pudding pops, Luke. Okay, in terms of him making it, we get it. Separate from that, I get that. There's no separate from that if he doesn't make it. I get that. Okay, separate from that, is it going to be more competitive in the Bellator promotion at 185 or 205 right now? Don't you think from that 2-fight experience? Yeah, so from that 2-fight experience, 185 is going to be the better use of his skill set of what's left. Look, it's going to be on him and his team. Hey, if they need help, I got a guy in Las Vegas. They call him Chef Kaz, K-A-S, Luke, okay? He'll put them weird balls on you, okay? He will. But that guy will meal plan for you. He'll move into your house. He'll probably sleep in your bed. But that guy is on top of his game. There are experts out there, Luke, okay? If Joey grabs one of those experts, don't count him out yet, okay?
Okay, let me ask you. Level of confidence he can make 185.
Well, I mean, I would be stupid to say, yeah, Luke, I'm right here. I mean, I'm certainly more confident in the Lord above, Luke, because I speak to him on the reg. But this soldier of God, I have less confidence because if he can't make that weight in UFC title fights, what are we doing, bro? But Luke, he's already announced it. He's got no other choice, right? It's like when you put on that Christmas weight and you go up on Facebook and be like, hey, everybody, I'm getting in shape now, okay? I put it out there so that you can hold me accountable. It's up to him to prove that, Luke. But I do think it's the right direction right now. We're naturally skeptical. A guy that age cutting down, but we don't see guys that age look like that, fight like that, act like that. He's an alien. Okay?
He is an alien. I will say that I certainly share your sentiment that his talent would be better used at 185. Color me deeply skeptical he ever goes back there or makes the weight. I mean, they might make a fight and he makes 187 or 88 or something. I don't buy he can make 185.
Well, some people don't come around to the truth until their last breath, Luke, so I'll be there during your last one, and we can rejoice together.
Okay, that's a little weird. In terms of Melvin Manhoef, he took his gloves off. This is the last fight, which I'm very glad to see. He has taken an absolute metric ton of abuse over the course of his career. What would you say about the career of Melvin Manhoef that stands out to you?
Well, he did take a big victory lap here, Luke. Okay, well, I know it was his moment, but he was like Jeffrey Leonard in the 87 NLCS, Luke, one flap down, walking around the bases. But no, look, Melvin Manhoef deserved that. It was great to see his family in the cage. He's an old-school gunslinger. I mean, an old-school gunslinger. It didn't matter the promotion, the variation of what, combat sport we're fighting. Is it kickboxing? Is it whatever? He came there willing to live by the sword and die by the sword every single time, and he would have done that in this fight if Romero wasn't taking him down. It feels like he hung on a little bit too long, but he was still knocking fools out just on his recent win streak. Luke, he's one of the most sort of like attraction guys. He's on the card. He's either going to knock you out or you're going to knock him the hell out. But it's probably going to happen quick. And he covers so many eras and generations. I mean, he's got knockouts of Mark Hunt. I mean, It was like I almost got emotional seeing him get emotional because you realize he was around back when most of us started watching this game in the beginning, right? So it's like to see those guys who did hang on to almost 50 finally walk away. I was happy he walked away on his own terms. It turned into a lengthy celebration, Luke, but can you argue against that after what he's done, after what he's endured? He's been all about delighting the fans in the kind of currency that is the most basic and easy to understand. I got this, and I'm going to try to land it on your chin before you land it on mine. This guy was one of the most exciting to do that. I've really enjoyed his career, okay? That's me giving you real sentiment. He did take a long victory lap, though, Luke, okay? It turned into like an
The guy made his pro debut in 1995. 1995, dude. I was, 14 or 15 at that time? And he was making his pro debut in the Netherlands. That is just a remarkable run. And he's got wins over some huge names in the sport. Cyborg Santos, as we mentioned, the Machine from England, Ian Freeman. He's got wins over, by the way, Kazushi Sakuraba, Kazuo Misaki, Dennis Kang, and on and on and on and on. He beat a lot of really good guys, and he'd lost a lot of fights along the way, too. He had a bit of a record where he was just, fight whoever you want. But Melvin was one of those guys who was terrifying to go against, right? Terrifying to watch, terrifying knockout power. When he put guys out, they went out. There was no doubt about it. I mean, he was such a heavy hitter, a relentless pursuit of aggression. He would walk out with his trainer from Mike's gym with the collar around his neck. I don't know if you remember that. He used to do that all the time in both kickboxing and MMA. I mean, he was just an absolute savage. One of the early terrifying knockout guys. And again, beating Mark Hunt with basically a one shot in the way that he did. He did a lot in his career, but obviously he took an absurd amount of damage. I am very glad to see that this is the end. Well, I really hope it's the end because I don't think it's medically advisable for him to continue. So glad to see that he was able to go out on his own terms in that way.